today, going to lead a little bit. You've probably seen on LinkedIn or elsewhere the prolific posting, probably from me and other people, from Google I/O. So Google I/O is very much sort of Google's developer conference, looking at a lot of the stuff that's happening in the background, a lot of the new features which are coming. I've just pulled out a couple of features from Google I/O, or announcements from Google I/O, that I just wanted to highlight. There's a lot of noise coming out of it, and I think some of these things will actually become, we will see in the next few months. So firstly, I think we can all admit that Gemini was not the greatest platform even just 12 months ago. I think we can say that, and it has changed drastically in those 12 months. And if you look at the different sort of very different rankings, there are different ways to define the best AI platform, but certainly Gemini is up there and leading in many cases. And so LM Arena is one of those rankings that it's leading in, but just in generally, Gemini is certainly up there with the best and beating in many, many cases. That's good to see. It's great to see that development. Another project I wanted to highlight, Google Beam. I don't know if anybody saw this, Project Starline. So Project Starline was announced a couple of years ago, and it looked really cool. And I've got a short clip to play in a moment, but it's now being renamed Google Beam, and it is going to be 3D enabled, essentially Google video calls. So you'll have a hardware device. It's going to be a new hardware device, and I believe HP are going to be the first manufacturers. There's going to be more than that. It will have built-in cameras. So each end of the video call has this piece of this hardware kit. But when you turn it on your big screen, again, we'll see the clip in a moment, it actually looks like a 3D representation of each of the people you're having a meet with. It's super cool, and I'll share that in a second. And one of the things that's also going to be featured in Google Beam, but also in Google Meet eventually as well, is real-time voice-matched translation. So if you are speaking in English, in your voice, the person on the other end will hear it translated into their language of choice. I think initially this is just launching with Spanish. But again, these things roll out to other languages over a period of time. Show you a quick clip of what that looks like, but it does look incredible. Gemini Live, you may have seen this if you have an Android device already. And I just ordered a Google Pixel for this because I wanted to get access to this. But they've just announced this is rolling out to iOS as well. It is Gemini Live. So if you tap on the Gemini Live button on the Gemini app, you can speak real time or live to your phone. In addition to that, you've probably seen the videos where somebody's walking around the Google office and filming different locations in the Google office. So Gemini Live uses your camera in real time, and you can query your camera about what it's seeing. So that's rolling out to iOS. It said today, over the coming days, weeks, or months. I don't know what the rollout looks like, but it's super cool. Agent mode. So the fifth item on the list is down here. Agent mode, formerly called Project Mariner, AI agents to perform tasks. Now, initially, this is going to be in the Gemini app. There are going to be desktop elements to this as well, but the simple example that they used was apartment hunting. So you can ask for it to look for an apartment, but it will use AI agents to search the web, specific websites, and so on, and give you all of that back. So that is agent mode, initially coming to the app version of Gemini. Personal context, you may have seen this already on your, if you're using Gemini on a personal account, so a Gmail account, you can actually save information about you for it to be used in its replies. But in addition to that, it's going to be much more tailored. So not just in the Gemini app, but in Gmail as well. So it's going to use sort of your tone. It will learn how you like to respond to mails, and it will suggest to use that tone as well. And then lastly, VO3 is, so yeah, I'm trying to keep up with these different model updates. VO3 is the newest of the new video models. So we've been playing with VO2 in Gemini. That's also built into Google Vids, so you can put in real-time clips or live video clips, generate live video clips inside of Vids. But now they're launching VO3, don't really know what to say anymore, next level video generation. And then ImageN 4 is a new image generation model as well. So a lot of new models coming. These are some of the highlights. This is just a quick clip I wanted to share of Google Beam.
My name name is Vasu Subramanian. I'm on the business development team for Google Beam.
Me llamo Carlos y soy un programador aquí en Google. Hola, Vasu.
Hey, Carlos. Welcome to Google Beam. How are you? How do you like this experience?
¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo te gusta esta experiencia?
Se me hace muy raro.
It seems very strange to me to hear you speak Spanish. It's amazing.
This is a live, real-time translation that we're both experiencing at the same time.
Experimentando al mismo tiempo.
Tu español lo hablas muy bien. You speak Spanish very well.
The technology is magic. To actually then interact with him in perfect English and to know that I was being translated in real time was really wonderful.
Si empiezas a hablar con esta persona, te olvidas de que esto es una conversación de videollamada, porque la sensación es que tienes una persona enfrente tuyo. Como el mío, no era acento español, pero lo podía entender perfectamente.
So that is Google Beam, again, a sort of 3D video call along with the translations as well. It looks pretty amazing. I think it's hard to appreciate watching a video of it, what it looks like, but if you see a couple of them, you'll kind of appreciate what the 3D video actually can do. Dion, I just saw your question. No idea. I thought you might be asking that because you're looking for those translations. I think just in generally for the international schools around the world, I think that's going to be very powerful. I could imagine this sort of technology easily replacing interviews for new staff hires. I think it's pretty interesting. But again, the communicating with parents and so on, the live translations, I think are going to be pretty cool. So yeah, I think, yeah, Dion, just to answer yours, I believe it's coming to Spanish first and then to other languages, but I don't know the timeline and rollout. So that's just a quick sort of 5-minute rundown of Google's I/O. Let's get rid of that. Okay, on to the regular updates. So things which are actually, so all of that stuff is rumored to be coming. These are things which are actually coming or are here now. Gemini has had an update. So we've seen the deep research features, Canvas, which are available within Gemini. And now you can build interactive quizzes inside of Canvas as well. So obviously you can put your prompt in, you can add your resources in, and you can you can have Gemini generate a quiz, but it's interactive inside of Canvas. So you can test it and see, test the answers and so on and how it looks before you export it. That's all built inside of Canvas, really just extending the interactive features that you can build inside of Canvas. And so you've probably seen already, I think you've seen these demos now. I think we did it last month already on the Gemini call. You can create and code apps and interactions, visuals, and so on. A lot of cool things coming. If you notice now, so Google has been streamlining a little bit what the Gemini app looks like, including the drop down of models and where deep research exists. I've got a screenshot of that in a moment. So I'll explain what that looks like. Okay, some of the things which are coming is, so already within Gemini and on the desktop, you can query Gemini about your calendar. You can do the same now on the mobile versions as well. So that's beginning to roll out. So not just, essentially they're mirroring the features that you get within Gemini on the desktop version within the mobile versions as well. So querying calendar, you'll be able to create events and query about the events as well from Gemini in Gmail. So if you're looking at a request to meet in your Gmail mobile app, you could quickly ask Gemini and say, am I free then? Or can you make an appointment then? And that sort of thing. Okay, I think Google Vault. I think Vault has been in a Vault for updates for a few years. I don't remember the last time we talked about Google Vault on the updates call. Document ID and shared drive options. So some updates coming to what can be stored alongside your data inside of Google Vault. So document IDs, a number of things there. We always recommend by default turning on Google Vault. I know a lot of people we talk to, looking at the people here, and a lot of schools already using Google Vault. If you're not, it's an easy thing to turn on. And if ever you need to do any kind of e-discovery, then you know it's retaining data there for discovery. A very good idea to turn it on. Good to see these quick updates as well. Okay, so currently, if you work in Gemini in the side panel, you're basically restricted to copying that text, whatever you've generated, into the message or into the doc that you're working on. Now, a little update is you can actually export it to a new document or a separate document. It's a little bit like how the Gemini app works. So we can see with custom gems are becoming available in the side panel. And similarly, it's mirroring a lot of the features of the Gemini app. So rather than this side panel being this fairly, well, until recently, not that many features from Gemini were available in it, just the generative features. Well, now with custom gems, exporting your generated content and so on, is very much mirroring what's happening in the Gemini app. And that's good to see, because I think you really want the power of Gemini wherever you are in Workspace. So that is coming. A quick update to interactive questions inside of Google Classroom. So this launched a couple of years ago. This is not a Gemini feature. This is just an Education Plus feature, just to be clear. So when you go to, if the teacher's using Google Classroom and they add a YouTube assignment, they have the option to add questions to that YouTube assignment. Previously, the number of videos where you could add, where it would automatically add questions was fairly limited. They're just increasing the number of videos which automatically have questions suggested. So you can add questions to any video, but this update is just increasing the number of videos which have auto-suggested questions, just make it a little bit easier to do that. So, I mean, as it says there, they're using AI, presumably Gemini, to suggest questions to add to videos, just making that easier. This is a big one, and if there are any, and I know there are a couple of Power App Sheet users out there, we've talked about this before. Gemini is going to be enabled inside of App Sheet. So App Sheet, as a quick recap, is Google's no code, say no code in quotes, platform for building apps. It can be no code, but you can really extend the power of App Sheet by connecting to external databases and custom code as well. Well, now you can build it. You have the built-in connector with Gemini. I should mention this is only available to App Sheet Enterprise Plus. And I apologize for the confusing licensing on this. So schools with Education Plus get free AppSheet core licenses. AppSheet Enterprise Plus is like the premium version of AppSheet. So if you have the premium version of AppSheet, then you can build in Gemini as well. And you see you have all of those AI features. So things like automated steps, generation, feedback, and so on, you could build with Gemini inside of AppSheet. It is pretty exciting. Only the author of the app, I believe, only the author of the app would need that additional license. But definitely worth investigating if you are interested in that. Okay, so a number of different Gemini updates inside of Google Workspace, and this one inside of Sheets. We probably saw it over the last few weeks. There's a lot of different things which are coming to Google Sheets. And Bogdan, you mentioned a couple before the call. Maybe you can come back to these a little bit later. But it also coming the ability to create pivot tables. I love Google Sheets. I hate creating pivot tables. So yeah, I'm happy I can ask Gemini to create pivot tables, filters, and drop downs as well. So really just chatting with Gemini to ask it to do what you want it to do. So it's really good to see that. Google Keep. Much loved app, at least by me. I love using Google Keep. You can take pictures and add it to it as well. It's been fairly limited in features over the years, but now you've got a simple update around text formatting inside Google Keep. So Google Keep, you can collaborate on notes. You can share notes with other people. It's nice to see a few updates come to Google Keep. It's just a good reminder with Google. If something doesn't get an update for a while, you always worry what's going to happen to it. Google Keep's still there. It's good to see. Okay, yeah, this is a screenshot I mentioned earlier. So this is really about 2.5 Pro preview, but just in general, I just want to talk about the interface that we're seeing here. We can see on the screen that we have in the dropdown, you just have two models now. This is what everybody will be seeing. They're trying to simplify the models which are available. And remember, just a month ago, I was in Cambodia with Google doing a session at a university there, and we were trying to explain out of all the 6 models available, which one you should use when. So yeah, this is really much needed. So now you're going to see 2 models. The Flash model for daily quick tasks, if you just want quick feedback from Gemini, still very powerful. And then the Pro model, I know it says preview there, but that's for reasoning, more in-depth tasks, maybe project management, building out yearly plans, strategic plans, and so on. Then we would use the Pro model. Now, the other features are just down in the bottom, so we can see deep research. and Canvas now live in the bottom bar. And if you're using your Gmail account with Gemini, you'll notice there's a video button as well. I think that's just pending coming out, but there'll be a video button as well. So it's just simplifying how you access different features inside of Gemini. So it's not removing things, it's not reducing things. Oh, one more thing to point out. Yeah, Pro, this popped up today. So on just in the top right, they've changed it from, I forget what was there before, premium or advanced. It's now Pro. I think this just means that you have a license if you see Pro. Trying to understand, this just appeared this morning. Still figuring that out. So we're trying to keep on top of those namings. We'll get back to you if there's anything else. Okay, Gemini reporting has been a lot of questions about this, and even in the Google Summit in Bangkok a couple of weeks ago, people were asking about the ability to delete conversations, search conversations, and so on. So now you do have the ability to use Google Vault. Again, e-discovery, search prompts, and responses from Gemini. You'll be able to export those conversations. And then, not related to Google Vault, but in general, there will be the capability to delete conversations from Gemini in the future as well. So there's a few updates coming around that. So again, around discovery, which is this about, and then being able to delete data as well in the future for Gemini. Gemini Live, I think we just mentioned this earlier. Again, those two-way conversations with Gemini Live. In the Gemini app, I should actually put a screenshot in here. There's a little live button in the bottom right. You can tap on that and you can just you can converse with Gemini in the app. And again, I think we mentioned this before as well. So here's the classic. Google just announced the latest video model, Veo 3, which will be rolling out soon. And this update just from last week is out, or 2 weeks ago, is almost outdated. So Google Vids, you can now you could generate a real video, live video, inside of Vids. So again, the Veo 2 model, you can generate 8-second clips of video. So you can do that inside of Google Vids. This is using a Gemini license. So if you have Education Plus, you have Google Vids. If you have a Gemini license on top of Education Plus, then you have the generative video capabilities as well built in. And there's another update coming to this. I think I've got a slide on it using avatars, but I'll come back to that. David, hold that question for a little bit later. Pre-configuring the Gemini, so app conversation history, you can pre-configure that in the admin console. So you can turn it on. It'll be on by default. So Gemini conversation history will be turned on by default and set to 18 months, and you can adjust that in the console. There's an admin feature for Gemini history. Deep research, we talked about that. Deep research is available in the Gemini app as well. Not really an update, just really accessible from a mobile app as well. Language update, actually, I'm going to skip that. There's a lot, I mentioned this last month. There's a huge number of language updates, and I'm not going to go through them all. Google's being very granular about the language support for all the different instances of Gemini, and this is another one. If you want the latest on the language updates, because it is changing on a weekly basis, just go and check the releases. And David was asking before about the live translation in Google Meet as well. Typically, Google rolls out updates to sort of Spanish, French, German initially, and then I don't want to say like the second wave, but then typically we have sort of Korean, Chinese, Japanese being sort of the second wave of languages and so on. But that's how it rolls out. But within a few months, you'll have tens or hundreds of supported languages. But again, it's best to check support. Okay, quick update to the side panel. So now you have access to, you can ask it about specific files. So you can query about specific files in the side panel. You can drag and drop these into the side panel, but you can also reference them in the side panel as well. So rather than just getting an update of them, you can. So if you drag a file into the side panel with Gemini, it will give you a summary of that file. But now you can ask specific questions and queries about those files. If you're working on a project, for example, it's a good way to say, okay, quickly update me on what's the latest in these files about this project. Okay, Google Voice. I know we have a couple of schools using Google Voice. I'm not sure if they're in the call today, but Google Voice has got a fairly limited supported country list, but I know it's increasing. I know schools are asking about this. It's bringing in three-way calling. So if you do have Google Voice or are interested in Google Voice, do chat to us. So three-way calling, there's a number of features actually announced in the last couple of months from Google Voice. There's definitely worth chatting to us about Google Voice. I know Agilon in Switzerland are using Google Voice and a couple more schools as well. So do reach out.
Yeah, and obviously Google's expanded the number of countries. It is possible in some Asian countries in partnership with your local telecom provider. So please get in touch, anyone who's interested in using voice.
Okay, I used to, so before AI, it seemed every other week there was an update to emojis inside of Google. I haven't had this for a while. Now you have emoji access inside of Gmail. So rather than replying to an email, you can add an emoji response inside of Gmail. Thank you, Claire. How appropriate. The pink hearts. Well timed. Yep, yeah, emoji responses, quick thumbs up, vote, or something like that inside of Gmail. NotebookLM. So actually the exciting thing here, I think I put a slide in, or maybe I didn't. You may have just seen who has downloaded the NotebookLM app for iOS or Android. I know some people here have. It is pretty awesome. So this announcement is about additional language support for audio overviews, but I think the bigger thing here is the NotebookLM app is available. You can generate audio overviews in the app. You can also interact with the audio as well. So we talked about the podcast feature. You can also interact with the podcast hosts inside of NotebookLM. Okay, quick update, security update here. This is a good one. If a user is working in a file that is being shared with external viewers or is owned externally, you'll now see a pop-up just warning of that. And you can see the little yellow highlight there, yellow external highlight. So it's just warning you that if you're working in an externally owned file, it's just warning you of that, basically. I don't know how to say that anymore. Okay, so yeah, it's good to see that. There's a number of different warnings. So if you're using DLP, there's much better insights now into why you may be restricted into working or sharing a file. So between DLP and this, there's just much better support for security. Gmail on iOS. Not a huge announcement, but it is using, if you've noticed, the Gmail app has had an update with Google's Material Design 3. They're just matching the web and Android. Okay, I meant to put an animation in here. It's just a static image. But this is talking about Google Vids, and it's just better editing on the track editing tool just at the bottom of the sort of the vid screenshot there. It just makes it much easier to edit the audio and so on. So if you use Google Vids, it's a little bit tricky sometimes just to move things around and chop and change things, just making it much easier. You can loop animations as well. So if you drop in an animation to a section on the timeline, you can actually ask it to loop as well whilst the voiceover is talking about it. Yep, some cool updates to Vids. If you haven't tried Vids yet, it is pretty amazing. Hey, now you can generate images in Gemini in the Gmail app. So again, just talking about the matching the feature set of Gemini across the different applications. So within Gmail, just help me write. This is a mobile app. You can use it to help you write. You can help it respond to emails, but now you can do image generation as well inside. I think that this is really just calling out that the features will be, they're trying to reach parity in the features, whether you're on mobile or desktop and across all the applications.